Y'all know what time it is right here, right now, giving you that boom bap breakfast right here on Black Power Media. This is the Remix Morning Show. Let me introduce you. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and our host for the day, we got no other than Kalanchi Jama Chunga. And burn it down, Kim Brown.
What up? The deal is.
Yo.
Remix
Woo,
Morning
listen to
Show.
that reverb. Woo!
The
Singing
reverb
like,
is too much.
like chopper in the air. I love it. Brackow. That's how it hits. That's how it hits.
So how y'all doing early in the morning?
Let's
What we
get
doing
it.
around here?
Happy Valentine's Day, Nens. What's up, N? Happy Valentine's Day to y'all ends and non-ends out here.
As we like to say, spread love day. Spread love day.
We don't say none of that. Well, we don't fuck with capitalism. Blah, blah, blah.
Yo,
Babylon, burn it down.
In the future, I want us to do a music spotlight on take 6. Spread love.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what's funny? Because I have a friend that's a principal, and I was like, tell your kids, spread love day, so that way ain't nobody excluded. Show somebody some love, act with your actions or your words, and then that way you ain't got to be like, oh, you got to be in a relationship, blah, 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 and then get into the whole history of it. Let's start something new, as we always say right here on the Black Power Media Show.
Agreed.
Shout out to all the African celebratory days. We won't mess with this bullshit.
There is a Black Love Day too.
There's a Coma Day. Shout out to the family from where you from, actually up in Trenton. Good brother and sister up there. But definitely, yeah. Good to see y'all today. You know what I'm saying? A whole lot going on. It's a powerful week. But today is my son's birthday. So shout out to my son.
Right. Is that Desaline? Yes. Desaline. Happy born day, Desaline.
Yes. So definitely.
What a fantastic name to name your son. That's beautiful.
Pretty dope. That is pretty dope.
Warriors. We do around here. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, we a little light today. Well,
y'all pretty light. Yeah, y'all not as light as usual.
Not as light as usual. We ain't got Kamal here today. Kamal is on a vacation.
What?
Kamal's on tour.
Yeah, he's on tour, man.
I don't know if the viewers been checking out. Kamal been doing the rounds. You know what I mean? He been forgetting. BPM is like, like 19 on the list of to do. Like, let me see what I gotta do. I gotta pick my toenails, scratch my butt, and I have to. Oh yeah, BPM. So it's funny. One of the joints, real quick. And I know you all know, Kamal's been on some major shows as of late, right? Mm-hmm. But the recent one, he was on with Rihanna, Joy.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So he did a great job, but he forgot about us.
He always does a great job. Let me say that. Kamal always does an outstanding job.
He always forget about us.
And he does always forget. He does an outstanding job of forgetting about Black Power Media as well. He does an outstanding job of that.
Can we go check it out?
Audience. Wait, before you go there, I want the audience, I want to cue the audience up, right? Please do. So Brianna Joy Gray, she's like, how can we contact you? How can the people get to you? He said, community movement builders, da 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 da. He said, Stop Cop City, blah blah blah. I mean, he went through like 18 websites. He named sites that he don't even know who own it. Allhiphop.com.
He put his Black Planet page up there. Kamal Franklin at blackplanet.com.
Yeah. Kamal Franklin at Ireland.com. All that shit. And then finally, Joy Gray asked him, what about?
Can we wait a minute? Can we show this?
Please
show it. Run the tape.
Let him see it.
All right.
Of course, Matthew. And Kamal, where can people find you and your work on the internet and beyond?
So on the internet, communitymovementbuilders.org. They can find us and all the different work that we do. They can go to stopcopcity.org, I believe, to find out more about that movement to Stop Cop City. And again, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to have the discussion with both of you.
Oh, also tell people where they can find the Black Power Media Network.
So thank you so much for that. You just saved me. So they can go to blackpowermedia.org on YouTube. Our channel is Black Power Media. You can hear all the alternative news that's centered in Black self-determination, Black power, Black organizing. You can find it there to help you find your guide to get into organizing and activism and fighting for Black folks.
That's terrific. Kamal, you should have a, not that I'm trying to do programming for you, but you should do a abolish the FBI panel, and I will happily come.
Oh, did you hear Kamal? She was like, "Yeah, what's up with Black Pepper?" Kamal's like, "Oh, right, them niggas. My bad."
No, no, he originally he said, "What about him?"
Oh,
You're like, "Oh, Black Power Media." Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
right.
Why you bring them up? Oh my goodness.
And maybe Kamal's not
Anyway.
proud. He's proud of the platform, but when he doesn't shout us out and claim us in spaces that are bigger, where he has an opportunity just to spread the love, so to speak. It's like, are you not proud of us, Kamal? Do you not want to be associated with us? What's going on?
He treat us like his side piece.
Oh.
We just like stop through. Oh yeah. These guys over here. I thought about
one thing he's good for though. Come on, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. Bring it.
Oh yeah.
Andy up.
Get that bread. Yeah.
Anyway, this is how we start the morning show off. So if you on the team and you don't show up, what happens?
Finish him. Let me go get ready for this break. I'll catch you.
Thank you.
No doubt.
Yeah, doctor.
Man, anybody go get ready for the break. Like I don't know how he breaking so early, but it's all good.
All right. Right. Now,
yeah.
This is a silly question, Kalanji, because I think I may already know the answer. Did you have an opportunity to check out the Super Bowl on Sunday?
I was kneeling with Cap.
Very nice. Good.
I don't
There were two other Black quarterbacks out there, and I think for anyone who watches the game, who watched, Super Bowls previously, this was easily one of the best Super Bowls that they ever played. And it's like, it's no coincidence that one of the best games ever was quarterbacked by two Black quarterbacks. I don't think those things are an accident. I think it's the Black people are just superior. I'm sorry at athletics and at this particular sport. And when Black quarterbacks finally got the opportunity, and again, it's about opportunity. It's not about skill or anything like that. Black quarterbacks have had the ability, the prowess, the acumen to play that position. Look what happened, man. It was a bomb ass game, 38-35. Big up to Kansas City Chiefs, even though all of us here on Black Power Media picked the Eagles. but big up to KC, KC Mo, KCK. Shout out to the Chiefs. Congratulations on your second title with Mahomes.
Yeah, for me, KC is Kalonji Changa, and I'm the only chief on the line. So let's get that right. But anyway,
racism was so terrible, y'all. If you watched the game, every time they did that tomahawk chop, I said, Jesus God, like the white supremacy can't take a night off, and all of the military spectacle that was part of it, all the gigantic patriotism on steroids. That was a bit gross. I'm not going to front. There was a lot of very white racist shit happening. America's first shit that was going on during the game. I'm like, this is kind of nauseating, but the game itself was quality.
Yeah, I missed it. Maybe I'll catch some highlights or whatever. Like I said, I'm still boycotting from the original boycott. So I'm a Debbie Downer and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't know if Cap's still kneeling or not, but I took the shit serious, and it's just like, they're like, up, it's over now. But I heard it was a good thing. I heard about Rihanna and some good people and everything. So
Maybe we can. I would like to get Ear Doctor's take on Rihanna's halftime performance. Let me since you didn't see it, let me not ask you. Let me ask somebody who probably saw it and get their opinion about it.
I know. I'm messing up the program, but I do want to shout out our man Dave from De La Soul. You know what I'm saying, for his transition. When you talk about hip hop, that's one of the pillars, especially coming up out the 90s and whatnot. Just loving all the energy that they gave. Shout out to the whole native tongue family, and all the stuff, all the things that they've been putting down for years. One of my favorite picks that I have is actually a picture with De La Tribe, Black Sheep.
Wow.
And a few other people in that joint right there. So, definitely shout out to De La Soul. This was a sad to hear, especially
devastating, even beyond sad, truly devastating because of who Dave was to hip hop, and who De La Soul is to hip hop by extension. But again, I I shudder on the inside to hear about people transitioning at age 54. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like
mm.
it's a very sobering sort of thing. And it's I don't know what to say beyond my condolences to his family and to every De La Soul fan, every real hip hop fan. We need to give our people our flowers while they're still here. And
Exactly.
unfortunately, we can't look at people in our 50s be like, oh, they too young to give them their flowers. No, no, they are not. Please give the people their flowers. If you fuck with them, if you love them, if you respect their work, and especially their artistry in this instance, please tweet them, leave them a Facebook message, tell the people that you love them, that you fuck with them, because things can end unexpectedly. So
That's
rest in
rough.
peace.
Yo,
No
De
doubt.
La was a big influence on me. I can't even front. I mean, down to dressing however you want to dress and not caring. I mean, come on, y'all know me. But just the fact that they was like on a suburban type hip hop, like they wasn't talking about the hood, this, that, and the third. I was like, I can relate to them. It's that nerdy type hip hop, and I was like, yo, that's dope. The beats was dope and everything, and my sister, she was a promoter. She was helping doing promotions, so she was cool with Dave. So I got to even speak to Dave before and everything. He was a good dude, and one of his homeboys, Fudge, lived down here in Atlanta, which I was good
R.I.P.
friends with.
Fudge. Yes.
R.I.P.
Yes.
Fudge. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He was a real good dude. So to see
Yeah.
him and now Dave transition,
Not
crazy.
only that, and we got it. We can't talk about
Fife.
Fudge and Dave without Fife. No
Exactly.
doubt.
Mm,
No doubt.
Exactly.
Jeez,
No doubt.
please.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Woo!
they said it on the news. They said that he transitioned. He passed away in a Maryland hospital to natural causes, and I thought that was a kind of I was puzzled by the phrasing because I'm like, what's natural about somebody passing away at 54 years old? And maybe we will not know what the actual cause of death was. But even still, I don't like to hear that. I don't like. I
Look,
want to hear people transitioning in their 80s,
here-
90s. I don't like to hear about
It's
people going away in their 50s.
it was heart failure. It was heart failure. He
Oh
been
my
dealing with that since 2017.
I'm just hearing about this right here. Is this true, Comrade Pete, Marshall Eddie Conway's transition?
What? No.
After looking into that, I haven't this is my
No,
first
no,
time
no, no,
hearing
no,
it.
no, 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 no. That can't be right.
For folks who are unfamiliar, again, I haven't. This is my first time hearing it. I'm a trust Comrade P is
Well,
breaking
yes,
something for
we
us.
trust Comrade P, but let me verify. Let
Right.
me
Yeah,
So
yeah,
verify.
let's go ahead and take our first break while you go ahead and verify and make sure all is what it is right here on the Remix Morning Show.
No doubt. Remix.
Yeah. Let me do this right here.
Oh.
Yeah. What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Please make sure y'all hit that like button, that subscribe button, and all those buttons down there that you can push to make sure somebody else knows about what's going on right here, right now, every day. Well, every Tuesday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. All right, with that said, go to patreon.com, drop some change in the bucket so we can keep this train moving. All right, let me give you a little bit of weather. Yo, this weather, I don't know what's going on. One day it's hot, one day it's cold, freezing in the morning, warm. Listen, you got to dress in layers, especially if you're down at ATL. Matter of fact, let's start at ATL. They got a high today of 68 degrees, which is pretty dope. I was actually outside on the court playing basketball yesterday. That's right, believe it or not. Philly, let's take it up to Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. They got a high today of 54 degrees. Now let's take it a little bit Midwest to the Chi. Big up to the Chi. They got a high today of 50. So we're staying kind of in between right there. Next, let's take it to Dallas. Dallas, Texas. They got a high of 68 degrees. Now let's take it to the West Coast. The best coast, what some would say. They got Los Angeles, 58 degrees. And now let's take it to the mountain called Jamaica, Kingston. That's right. They got a high today if you look at a vacation at 85 degrees. And now let's take it to the motherland, no other land. Let's go to Mali. Mali got a high today of 101. Now that, my friend, is hot. Now, speaking of mother and landing, like Kim said, if you haven't seen Rihanna, this mother landed and did her thing on the stage. You talking about a sister got up there with a baby bump, a new baby. So big up to her, ASAP Rocky, for having another one. And to get up that high after, possibly having a little sickness from the birth, from babies, and then you getting up that high and doing your show, she ripped it, did her thing. Big up to entertainment. I love to see somebody with good choreography, good lighting, good camera work. It was very well put together. So big up to Rihanna for putting it down, and big up to all my Bajans out there. That's big for all them Bajans out there. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and get back to the Remix Morning crew. You know how we do. All right.
All right, I got an unpopular opinion here about the Super Bowl halftime show. I was not all that impressed. I was willing to give her a little bit of a, grade her on a curve because of the pregnancy once it was confirmed that she was indeed, pregnant performing. But I'm like, in terms of halftime shows, this was a yawner. This was a yawner. I'm like, she could have did that down at the Capital One Arena. She could have did that at the Baltimore Arena. Like, what? It was not a Super Bowl halftime worthy kind of performance. It was not a lot. The Super Bowl halftime show is supposed to be a spectacle. I mean, it's supposed to be everything: cannons, pyrotechnics. You know what I mean?
They didn't have that.
Man, I don't know. I was expecting some cameos, somebody to pop up and sing along or rap along, but
Well, big up to my half Bajan daughter. She was very big, she's like big up Barbados. I was like, all right. So big up to all the little Bajans that got to see, their celebrity on top doing their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm just saying. Like in the age of Beyonce, when Beyonce has ripped not one but two halftime
performances. Why is it always these
performances?
comparisons, though? I mean,
I'm comparing. Listen, I'm being nice. I'm keeping Prince and Michael Jackson out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm keeping Prince and Michael Jackson out of it. I mean, to keep it a buck, even Katy Perry, somebody who I'm not really generally impressed with. Her halftime joint was a beast. Like, she had the dancing sharks and she was riding a dinosaur, and Lady Gaga jumped from the top of the stadium. I mean,
she was pregnant.
Then she should have took this one off, Chief.
Wow.
She should have took this one off. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
she's gonna get that bag. Trust and believe. But yeah, that's what it is, man. She did a thing. Big up to that for going down. And yeah. And like I say, man, you got pop singers. Pop singers ain't always singers. Like, you had Madonna, you had Janet Jackson. They wasn't the best singers, but they put on a good show, good choreography, and everything.
Entertainer. Repeat it back.
Yeah,
Repeat it
great
back in the
entertainers.
show. Repeat it. And did Rihanna do any of that?
Yeah.
Did she give you? Nah,
Anyway,
dog.
that's
If
your
you think
opinion.
Rihanna got up there and did Janet Jackson, you was smoking more than rocks, my G.
Yeah, I
Like,
ain't seen Janet pregnant do a show, so we'll see.
hey, good point. That's valid. That is valid.
Well, with that said, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll catch you on the next break. Peace.
Pace.
Yes,
All right.
yes. I heard she performed for free as well, and she also she broke her boycott that night because I know last time I saw it, folks was like, yeah, Rihanna's boycotting the Super Bowl, whatever. I guess she's back. Anyway.
Hey, but Kalanja, you're onto something, because part of me, because I remember that when after the the whole thing of what Kaepernick, Rihanna said that she was not going to perform at the Super Bowl, but it reminded me that Rihanna's probably still under management contract with Rock Nation, and I'm not 100% certain of that. If y'all know better, then please correct me. But maybe somebody made her get up there and do this show. To be honest,
She threw the rock up at the end of the set.
She probably was under a little bit of coercion, maybe a little bit of pressure to get up there and perform, since her boss oversees this part of the Super Bowl performances. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, hey, what do you say? Y'all need me. We don't need you. But anyway, we're gonna flip it. We have confirmed that Marshawn Conway made his transition. We're gonna talk about that when we go into this news right about now on where we at? Remix Morning Show.
Slap the map. Peace, everybody. Welcome to Black Power Media. This is the one and only Remix Morning Show, broadcasting live to you all through your YouTube streets. This is the only place you're going to get that boom bap news for that Black liberation perspective. My name is Kim Brown. That is my bruv right there, Kalanji Changa, the ear doctors in the back, hooking us up with all the production stuff. And it's time to get into the news. And this is very sad news. I really hate to bring this to y'all first thing on a Tuesday, but as Kalanji just said, we did confirm that Eddie Conway, former Black Panther, will always be a Black Panther, did make his transition. Eddie spent 43 years in a Maryland prison and was able to come out. Gosh, maybe has Eddie been out 10 years? Maybe not quite.
Good if not, yeah.
But this is devastating news to learn about, that Eddie has transitioned. I knew Eddie. I worked with Eddie. I liked Eddie quite a bit. He had a very fatherly vibe to him. He was always Baltimore. And he was always just a busy guy. Like every time I would see Eddie after he came out, Eddie was everywhere, all over the city, planting gardens, doing community work. And then I know he took his work across the country after his release. Kalanji, I know you have some things to offer here pertaining to Eddie. Very sad news to learn about Marshal Eddie Conway's transition on today.
Yeah, as Kim mentioned, he was definitely a veteran Black Panther vet in the Baltimore chapter. It's my understanding that Baltimore chapter was infested with agents. This was the era of COINTELPRO, and I was told that Eddie Conway was one of the people who went to the New York chapter and told them that something wasn't right, and then went over to the Bay and said something wasn't right about some of the things that were going on in that particular chapter. And I understand that they were told to purge the chapter. Eddie Conway was framed for the 1970 killing of a Baltimore police officer and sentenced to life in prison in 1971. He was denied proper representation, and he's one of those folks who we thought would never get out. We were talking about political prisoners, I believe it was yesterday, and one of the things that we talked about, no, maybe a couple of days ago, when we were dealing with we had Kasise Siddiqui on, and we were talking about political prisoners and how at one point we didn't think that certain political prisoners would ever get out. You know what I mean? So they had we've watched Marshal Eddie Conway come out. We watched folks like Sekou Odinga come out, Sundiata Acoli, Dr. Mutulu Shakur, who I've recently spoken to, and others. And I'm glad to say that at least Eddie Conway had the opportunity to live a little after he got out, because oftentimes brothers and sisters don't last too long after they're out or whatever. So definitely rise in power to Eddie Conway. At 9:25 today, we will have another veteran and former political prisoner, Jalil Muntaqim, be coming on the platform, and we'll be talking to him. So stick around at 9:25. Also at 9 a.m. we will have our sister Ajoke from FTP on board as well. Rise in power, Marshal Eddie Conway.
Let me say this real quick about Eddie after he came out. And let me give credit here to the Real News. The Real News hired Eddie immediately after his release. And I believe he had been working with the Real News or for the Real News up until very recently. And I know that if you go to therealnews.com, there was a series there that Eddie hosted called Rattling the Bars, where he talked a lot about issues of incarceration and talking about, specific folks and the kinds of dehumanizing conditions that people who are incarcerated are subjected to. Please go check out Rattling the Bars. I mean, I'm sure there's many dozens of episodes that Eddie hosted there. But I did want to, I didn't leave the Real News on the greatest terms. Let me say that. But I can recognize and appreciate the opportunity that they gave him, as you said, to have a life. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not counting his money or nothing, but Eddie was doing all right. You know what I'm saying? Having a job, doing the work that was really meaningful to him, and I appreciate the Real News for giving Eddie the opportunity to do that and to continue his work on the outside. And another thing that, let me say this real quick, that Eddie had told me, in terms of like prison labor being exploited. I did not know this until he mentioned this to me, but Eddie was a very talented graphic designer. And along the highways in Maryland, there are lots of signs, highway signs, not just the speed limit signs, but signs of artistry. And he told me that he designed a good number of those, and that he was only, again, compensated for, pennies on the dollar. He didn't receive no money from that, but yet his work is plastered all over the state highways and byways in Maryland. So just another fact that maybe many of us did not know about Marshall Eddie Conway, that this man's talents were just innumerable. And his mark is everywhere. Even if you don't recognize that you might be looking at Eddie Conway's handiwork on the side of the road, know that that's part of his legacy as well.
Yeah, just sitting here, man, I have this this energy, this feeling of sadness, because here it is. I'm again, this is one more reason why folks should be absolutely on the battlefield, for lack of better words. Folks should definitely be involved in our people's liberation movement. My man, Dr. Jerry Ball in the building. What's happening?
Hey, what's
up,
Jerry?
good people? My bad, everybody. I was trying to get ready for my day, and I was listening to you all talk about the passing of Eddie Conway. I just wanted to jump in and commiserate the passing of Dave. I mean, this has been a lot. But so shout out to all of you and everything. And I just wanted to say, man, I had the pleasure of knowing Eddie a little bit for some years. Even before he got out, I was with a small group of people trying to support him. Got to visit him in prison, got to interview him in prison up the road here in Jessup before he got out. Obviously, Kim, to your point about the Real News, I think both of us could say we left in less than ideal circumstances. And I will always say, Paul J is to be credited for giving Eddie space. I do think there was an exploitative relationship there. I do think there was, but the reality is he was in a position to help Eddie out, to give Eddie an income and some health care, and to allow Eddie to continue to do the kind of good work that, as you pointed out, Kim, he was endlessly doing. I even got to be at his when he first got out, at the little gathering that they had for him in Baltimore, which was just amazing. And just to see already he was hitting the ground running. He had already been, laying groundwork with work that he would be doing from while he was still locked up. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame that he had to spend so much time in prison. But he did exemplify the kind of, that kind of good work when he got out. Much love to his partner, Dominique, as well. And I'm very glad. I will say, again, I do blame Paul for the dissolution, a little bit of our relationship, but I am very happy to get to say that before Eddie passed, I got to see him and go to him and Dominique and tell them, like, I just want to be clear, whatever my issues are with Paul, they're not with you. I got nothing but love. And we were able to, clarify all of that and move on, and which was very good for me now, especially selfishly now that he's gone. I don't have to carry that kind of guilt. But anyway, so just anyway, these are the contradictions we're in since we're not free. We got to continue to deal with all of this. So I thank you all for making room for this, and the remixers for bringing this up. And rest in power to Eddie, and much love to Dominique and his entire family.
Glad you hopped on too, my man, because I already knew that you are, we spoke in the past about, about that situation in your relationship and everything. For me, it is a, like I was saying before you hopped on, this feeling of anger, because here it is. We're talking about this man robbed of 43 years of his life, almost 44 years of his life, because you had a a a piece of shit system, and you had small pieces of shit who helped to destroy this man. You know what I mean? And we're talking about when we talk about white supremacy again, you know, it doesn't have a color.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we talked about the Baltimore chapter. Uh, you know, and we talked about, you know, just and I was trying not to say started by an agent because of the fact that, you know, there are other folks who had sincere intent. And unfortunately, well, not even unfortunately, this is a reminder, as I'm always talking about, having security. You know what I'm saying? Having a way to vet who is and who, you know, who is and who's around your ranks, because we get confused and we get happy because folks are coming up to us like, yeah, I want to get down, you know, the movement, so on and so forth. You get caught up in, and you can become disillusioned, and you can become, you know, led astray. And in cases like Eddie Conway, entrapped, you know, so I want to say rise in power to Eddie Conway, and you know, down with this rotten ass system, man.
If I could just add real quick too, you know, there's a lot of great. I mean, he was Kim. You made a really good point. Not only was he very active immediately, but he was effusive with his storytelling, with his sharing of his experiences, with his building with young folks. With one of the first interviews he did when he got out, he brought some of the young formerly incarcerated brothers that he was working with Dominique to Morgan State for an interview with us and our students, like, you know, like showing he was immediately and one of my favorite stories that he always would remind us, and I think it's in our George Jackson video mixtape that Bashi Rose and I got to do. Eddie tells the story of how, I think it's in there, of how George Jackson's books would force a level of repression on the prisoners, just finding them. And Eddie would tell us, he told one story in particular of how one of the resistance that he and others engaged in was full silence. And he talked about, if you've ever been in or visited, prisons are very loud. They're very uncomfortably loud. And when he described how, in response to the repression that he and others suffered by trying to teach and read about George, they just went fully silent. And if you can imagine, like the fear that inspired alone among the guards. Anyway, just one of the stories that popped up I thought was very interesting, that of the many that he would share with us. And anyway, yeah, that was it.
No doubt. Speaking of George Jackson, tell him about what we're doing on the book piece, brother. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, people obviously, you know, I mean, just check out Guerrilla Intellectual University, and Dr. Joy James and Janine Jones are going to be leading us in a conversation around Blood in My Eye over a 4-week period. So the schedule's been posted on Instagram, and just stay tuned for all of that. It's going to be, in many ways, it's a great way to commemorate Eddie and many of those that have, you know, gone in that direction and are now not with us anymore. And we gotta, you know, we're gonna have to keep, we got to keep bringing up these histories. They are being washed away, and those in power are happily awaiting these deaths, and they want those histories to go with them. So this is not just a physical passing of Eddie. I think we need to recognize this as part of the attempt of the state to push those ideas down with them into the grave or wherever else with him, or into the atmosphere, wherever he's going. They want those ideas to go with him and not be with us.
Well, the thing is, you know, that's why we're here. You know what I mean? That is the purpose of Black Power Media, to make sure that that we're not flushed down the toilet, to make sure that names known and unknown are acknowledged. You know what I'm saying? This is the archive, and that's why we need you all, our supporters, to continue to support us. And I know that, you know, sometimes, you know, we get, you know, we joke about, you know, the funds and all that type stuff. But listen, man, we're putting our life, energy, work into this situation, and we're looking to give you something that you're not getting anywhere else. And I know for a fact, and I'm not trying to diss no other platform. Nobody's bringing it to you like this. I'm sorry, you can't front on us, man. We hitting all nooks and crannies, all different types of freedom fighters, different movements from across the planet, from present to past, so on and so forth. You get your information, we give it to you raw. We might not always give it to you the way you desire. However, you can't front on what it is we're doing. Also I want to shout out Nana and Jenga as well. Marshall Eddie Conway's ex-wife, who I spoke to her maybe about a few weeks ago, and she's sick as well. So we want to put her in our prayers and whatnot. I was calling to get her on the platform. So let's just stay focused and continue to support our effort. We're going on 2 years in 3 days. 3 days from now, this particular platform, Black Power Media, will be our 2-year anniversary. It's been a rough ass ride. Don't get it twisted. We all bump heads and all of that type of stuff, but it is an act of love. It is an act of love.
Stop playing. Stop lying.
I ain't never bumped your head, Kalanji. What are you talking about? Even if I wanted to, I ain't never bumped your head, Kalanji. I'm just playing.
I don't think that any of us have it. Well, none of us that show up on this screen. But we're grateful because of the fact that, to me, and I think to us, is an accomplishment that we're able to come on this platform and try to do what we do, man, and do what we do. And
just real quick, also, because as I get ready to head off to do the very non-revolutionary work of testifying.
Hey, what? Aren't you testifying on behalf of your right to strike? What's non-revolutionary about that, Jared?
I don't know. I mean, you're right. I appreciate that, kid. I just like to.
1 second as well.
It's a good act. It's a proper act. I might not call it revolutionary, but I hear you. And I just wanted to distinguish that a little bit from the work of Eddie and others like that.
Yes, big time.
So just to be clear on that. But no, I am going to testify today and again on Thursday on behalf of the right to unionize and collectively bargain, which is a human right, by the way. Should be understood as that. But I did just want to quickly say that the point you all raised about this 50, thank you, Anthony D, is that just in this last couple of weeks, I mean, I've had two of my own friends getting less than favorable diagnoses. So just being Black and alive is a struggle. And then if you engage in challenging those in power, it becomes that much more difficult. But we should all, do the best we can to stay healthy. And I love the point that you all were making earlier about giving flowers to folks. 50 shouldn't be seen as an ending point, and it's too often getting close to that. So anyway.
And it's scary for those of us who have crossed that line already, right? It is definitely but to be honest with you, and definitely shout out to Baba Mukasa, who turns 80 this Saturday.
Oh, right on. Right on.
Baba Mukasa and my mother would be 73 this year. 72. So definitely shout out.
And that's like 150 in Kalanji years.
Raising Kalanji messing with me. And we also have, speaking of birthdays, we can't forget Kamal Siddiqui on the 19th as well. And, Didan Kamati's assassination of Malcolm. And there's a whole lot coming up that we will be discussing and talking about. But definitely, man, we appreciate the efforts that you all are making, because, it is an outlet to allow us to get off some of this energy. I don't know what. I mean, I could think of 1,000 things I'd be doing if I was on BPM. However, I was trying to make it sound good.
Can I say this real quick, y'all? And this is just a suggestion, and we could take it or leave it, whatever. And I know the real news is not this platform, but we can make playlists featuring other channels, content, and maybe we should make a playlist of Eddie's Rattling the Bars because of and feature it here on this channel because of who he was and for the kind of work that Rattling the Bars addressed. So that's just a thought.
Well, I give you the blessings to get it started because we
I
are
don't have no
small.
permissions on this channel, Kalanji. I can't push no
You
buttons over
will.
here on BPM.
You ain't saying nothing. It's like, hey, Jared, did she just hit us with that BS? Oh, I don't have no permissions.
I don't have no permissions over here.
Well, check this out.
It's
Bam, you got permission. Go ahead.
it's a worthy idea. We could work that out one way or
Yes.
another. I'm gonna head out, everybody. I did drop the link to what I'm going to be testifying to today in the chat. If folks want to get an early advance, they can check it out. I think I got to read a reduced version of that to get it under 2 minutes, but you get the gist, and some names are named and points made. So it is.
Go in there like Rakim, Jared. Go in there and freestyle on them fools. Let them know.
Or go in there like your man Cornell. See what the brother such. You know, that might work too.
Yeah. Anything. I got 2 minutes, so I'll see what you know.
Oh, you
anyway,
got that,
but appreciate
Shorty.
you all. Continue good show, and shout out to the remixers, and rest in power to Eddie Conway, and love to his family, and to the rest of us. We're gonna need it. So
no doubt.
Thanks again, everybody. Take care.
Appreciate you, Jared. Thank you. Dr. Jared Ball making a righteous cameo this morning.
Rare sighting.
Yes. Is it time for an ear doctor break, or should we just keep flowing with news?
I think we got a few good minutes, so you know we can talk about some things. We do have 2 guests coming up at the 9 o'clock hour, so make sure you stay tuned to that. You know, but yeah, we have some news. I think that you know, I think you may have a story. I'm sure that you'd be talking about the whites in Mississippi.
You have to be more specific, sir. I
mean, I'm sorry. Let me go to this.
The whites in Mississippi are busy. The whites in Mississippi are doing quite a lot. You have to tell me. You have to zero in specifically about.
My bad. I thought you was hip to this story real quick. Let me pull this up.
Did I send y'all the email? Did I send y'all an email? Maybe no, I did not. Are you talking about the court thing that they created in Mississippi, or the whites have done something else in Mississippi? The whites are busy in Mississippi.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The court piece in Mississippi is what I was talking about. We can actually go to that if you like.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Let me see if we can share a screen or something around here.
Because Missouri has also done something similar also, but yeah, we'll get into
we love these people, man. I sound like them, right? These people.
I mean, let me tell you something. I mean, listen, let me just say this. We all live in the belly of the beast, do we not? You know what I mean? But my God, I have so much deeper love for my people that live in places like Mississippi and Missouri. And it wasn't until I lived in Missouri that I understood how different Missouri is from Maryland. I mean, there's crackers everywhere, but the level of crackerism in other states is, if you're not accustomed to it, it can be a little jarring. Not confused. No. Well, yeah, maybe confused is the right word there, Kalanji. I say jarring. It's jarring. And it's like, oh, y'all on this, y'all carry this white supremacy like with you to the fucking Kroger and shit. Well, what do they got in St. Louis? Schnucks at the grocery store. I'm like, y'all need to calm down with all this shit, man. I'm not regardless. But what you got?
I mean, we're not surprised. Anyway, as most folks know by now, a white supermajority of the Mississippi House voted after an intense 4+ hour debate to create a separate court system and an expanded police force within the city of Jackson, the blackest city in America, that would be appointed completely by white state officials. If House Bill 1020 becomes law later this session, the white Chief Justice of the Mississippi Supreme Court would appoint 2 judges to oversee a new district within the city, one that includes all of the city's majority whites neighborhoods. Amongst those areas, the white state attorney general will appoint 4 prosecutors, a court clerk, 4 public defenders, etc., and expand the Capitol Police Force. Now, it's wild because we're talking about Jackson, Mississippi. Now, this is the same Jackson, Mississippi that's having this water crisis, right? The same Jackson, Mississippi, who has a black mayor, Chokwe Antar, who's a son of Chokwe Lumumba, one of our comrades and freedom fighters who made his transition a few years ago. This is the same city, same black city, where your man, Brett Favre, speaking of the NFL, took the money and ran, and there was no problems. Now they're saying they want to make this, Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, is the blackest major city in America. Matter of fact,
I think you might
you
be
know,
right.
yeah. And they're like, they're like, look, man, we're more concerned with white power than we are than we are life. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
we, you know, damn the water. You know what I'm saying? We just need white folks to have their own thing. We'll create our own water system. Don't worry about it. So
I
I
mean,
don't
and
know.
Mississippi has some of the most deplorable outcomes, especially for Black people, but not just for Black people. Child poverty is at, I believe, the highest rate in
Oh, yeah.
Mississippi. Sometimes Mississippi, Alabama, and Arkansas, they be fighting for the best of the worst. You know what I'm saying? They be fighting that there's a race to the bottom, but I know Mississippi is in there for child poverty, for child mortality, for mother mortality, for rates of cancer, for highest levels of inadequate education, but they never don't find money to build new prisons in Mississippi. They
Oh, yeah.
somehow never find the money to fix the water in Jackson. I mean, this is another step, another evolution of the genocide. If they just can't kill the Black people in Jackson outright because of the water, well, then just lock them all up. Just
Right.
put them all away. And
I mean,
Mississippi, goddamn.
man, and it's funny that you're saying that because literally February 7, 2013, the state of Mississippi had finally submitted their required documentations to ratify the 13th Amendment. So they literally officially ended slavery
2013.
February. I mean, what is this? 2013? 10 years ago.
Wow.
10 years ago, almost to the date. 10 years and a week ago, Mississippi officially on paper legally ended slavery.
And
So
I mean, tell me slavery's not still going on at Parchman Prison, right?
I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying?
you already know it. Parchman is one of the, and we were, and I want folks to know because of the fact that folks start talking about Parchman with Jay-Z and some of these other cats went out there. We was at Parchman when it wasn't popular. You
Come
understand what I'm
on.
saying?
Hell
Protesting
yeah.
some of the deaths out there. You got these literally these slave camps, Parchman, Angola, in
New Orleans.
Louisiana,
Yeah.
and so many other places. I mean, where for me, like you said, man, just coming from where I'm from, I always look at places like folks that live in Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, and places like that. To me, they some real OGs. You know what I mean? Folks be talking about organizing. You ain't organized jack shit if you ain't organized where these crackers will give it to you raw. You understand what I'm saying?
Birmingham.
They don't give a they don't give a damn about what law. And speaking of Birmingham, I'll be hosting the hip hop summit at the Selma Bloody Sunday joint again this year. So if you
Nice.
all are in the plan on hitting Selma. But my thing is, again, just woo. I mean, just riding through places like Mississippi, that shit scared me. All them
It's
goddamn
it,
dirt roads and trees.
it
You
sends
know,
an ancestral chill down your
yeah,
spine because you
absolutely,
understand what
absolutely.
time it is. And again, to edit one of Malcolm's most famous phrases, to me, everything south of the Arctic Circle is Mississippi, right? People, I think Malcolm said everything south of the Canadian border was Mississippi, but if you've been to Canada, you know that Canada has some Mississippi parts to it as well. But
Right.
I mean, Black people historically could have gotten it anywhere in this country, but you feel it more deeply down in the Delta, even certain parts of Virginia, Missouri, you feel it. You know what I mean? Like, what our people went through, what your ancestors went through when they were living in these places, and you still feel that. You feel that emotional connection. You feel that that ancestral terror. I can't even really characterize it no different than that. Even though you may feel secure in your person in the 21st century, that your folks did not feel that same sense of security, and
Man,
nor should we
listen.
feel it even today. But
Hey
it's
man, sometimes when you on the plantation, you forget about the plantation.
whoo
I don't
shit.
know how I didn't mention Georgia. There's some spots out here where we are because folks think about Atlanta, they talk about it's the Black Mecca. I mean, listen, man, you venture your ass out in Georgia, you have to remember this is the place where Ahmaud Arbery was hunted down, where he was ran down. This is also the place where our brother Kendrick Johnston went to school and never left. He was in a rolled up mat. This is the place where 92-year-old Katherine Johnston was gunned down in her own home. This is a very racist place as well. And I need folks to understand that, because sometimes when they talk about Georgia, they think about all the beautiful Black people, but they forget that there's some racist rednecks. So one thing about white supremacy in the South, it goes from bloody redneck to house nigga Black. So we have to be advised and be aware that, again, white supremacy knows no complexion.
I agree. Because I was thinking about you making that exact statement recently, because there, maybe we can get into this. I don't know if we have time to get into it today, but in DC, the DC police, they didn't kill this brother, but they did shoot him and put him in ICU. I'll briefly summarize. So over the weekend, and I shout out to DMV Black Lives, April Goggins and them, I believe, are on this. But DC police were looking for a domestic violence suspect, wasn't able to find them. They found a gentleman sitting in a car, and they asked him to get out the car. The guy refused to get out the car for good reason. Fuck you want? You know what I'm saying? I don't have nothing to do with what you're doing. So eventually they end up shooting the brother. The brother survives, but he's still deeply injured in ICU. His mother on the news said he's still handcuffed to the hospital bed. Kalanji, he was not the person they were looking for, Kalanji.
Am I not surprised?
He's not the person they were looking for. And his mother said that he may not walk again. Either way, he's very, very critically injured as a result of police getting their blacks transposed or whatever, but just feeling entitled to accost this man, harass this man, and then eventually critically injure this man via gunfire, and then be like, oops, sorry, we was looking for a different nigga, our bad.
And I mean, and the reason they even acknowledge that is probably because he survived.
Exactly.
Had he not survived, they would have demonized him, criminalized him, and he'd have went to the grave, and folks would have just been like, oh man, I can't believe, he's such a good brother, because unfortunately, we're still stuck on whatever the mass media has to tell us. And it's funny because I even look at folks who are quote unquote conscious or have politics or whatever, and some of the shit that come out their mouths, I'm like, man, are we looking at the same situation, or
Yeah, but to your point about people having the perception about Atlanta being a Black Mecca, people have that same perception about Washington, D.C. and the D.C. area. And if we're looking politically, just through the binary of Republican and Democrat, I mean, it's all blue. D.C. is blue, Maryland is blue, Northern Virginia is blue. You would think, Black people might be safe. but no, we are not safe. Not under a Black mayor, with a Black police chief, with a new Black governor in Maryland. I mean, no. Your representation will not save you.
Hey, listen, America's blue, because blue lives matter to these crackers.
Blue lives
you know what I'm saying?
So
No matter who you vote for, no matter what the complexion is, it's all about white lies. But speaking of who we vote for, we got the ear doctor. I'm definitely not gonna call you. I ain't gonna do you like that.
White lives. Speaking of white lives, look, pick up this light bright ass.
There we go. I was like, come on, where's the dish here?
I say I ain't gonna do him like that today, man.
Word.
That'd have been wrong.
Hey, it's all love here, man. We spread love day. You know what I'm saying? With that said, we're going to go ahead and take another quick break, and we're going to come back. We got guests coming right here on Black Power Media, so let's go.
Let's get it.
What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show right here on Black Power Media. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and right now we are going to do some artist spotlight. You see, I'm taking you back to the streets. I'm taking you back to where hip hop lived. Earlier, we talked about no other than True Goy, Pluck 2, The Dove. Yes. Now let's talk about his crew. No other than De La Soul. De La Soul, that's right, coming straight out of Amityville. Big up Amityville, Long Island. They first started in 1988. They combined jazz, alternative hip hop. You had Pasta Noose, True Goy, and Maceo. They came out of high school together, and they started working with their friend producer Prince Paul. and they first came out with their demo tape, Pluck Tuning. Yes, this was a very dope song that came off the album 3 Feet High and Rising. It's been called a hip hop masterpiece, and yes, indeed it was. They were also influential in putting out Mos Def, getting his whole career started. Let's not forget they were down with the Native Tongues, which features Jungle Brothers, which features Common, Erykah Badu, and the whole crew. So when you're talking about Queen Latifah, Black Sheep, Tribe Called Quest, as you know, they came out with a song called Buddy that killed them with that. But yo, they had a bunch of dope albums. We talking 3 Feet High and Rising, De La Soul is Dead. Almost like 6 albums. The Grind Date and the Anonymous Nobody, which they kickstarted and got put out. Now they having a little problems with putting their stuff out, especially dealing with Tommy Boy Records. But Tommy Boy Records, they shut them down. Somebody bought them out, and they were able to start working on streaming. They're not happy with this 10% streaming, so they working on some things still. But like I said, big up to True Goy and his whole family. May that brother rest in power. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and get you back to the Remix Morning Crew. Now we do. And if you ain't heard no De La Soul, pump some today. All right, with that said, let's get back to our crew right here on the Remix Morning Show.
Oh man, the soundtrack of my childhood, man. I was in the 5th grade when Me, Myself, and I came out, and I remember being in elementary school, like reciting all of the rhymes. You know what I mean? To Me, Myself, and I with the Flower Power, and big up to De La when I think they performed at the 930 Club. This is like when Baby Fat came out. It's nothing but a little baby fat. Yeah. I got on stage and danced with them.
Word.
Well, I mean, maybe we can call it dancing. Just imagine a black Elaine Bennis with the kicks
gyrated.
So Kim, you was in the 5th grade when De La came out. I mean,
when Me, Myself, and I came out, because I remember being in class and be like, it's just me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
They played that video so much.
Yeah, they did.
Yo, that was like 1989, right?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. I was definitely not in the 5th grade.
Damn, they graduated.
My first child was born in 1989.
Whoa.
Wow.
So it was just me, myself, and that. Anyway.
With that said, that's your spotlight today on no other than De La Soul. I'll catch you on the next break.
Thank you.
Real quick fact, True Goy is yogurt backwards. That was his name. So, they always came up with these wild names. So shout out to Dave on that.
I didn't know that. Did y'all know that, chat? I didn't know that. That's something significant to know, I think.
Trying to tell y'all, man. Y'all got it. Y'all get on board. Y'all think y'all know hip hop. I'm saying, let me shout out to Minister Server. Minister Server in the building. Tell them what time it is.
Hey,
anyway,
we respect our hip hop elders. Like Kalanji. Like Kalanji. Who know all
Watch your gums. Anyway, I have today we have a couple guests. The first guest coming up is a comrade of mine who we go back since the beginning of FTP movement. In fact, she's one of the founding members of FTP movement. So I'm going to come back with you. She's coming under another guise though. Today she is coming under Chef Ajoke. So in a few ticks, stick around for my sister and my comrade, Chef Ajoke. Remix Morning Show. Siafu salute. Ajoke, what's good?
Siafu salute, Chief. Everything is well.
Man.
Everything is well.
And good to see you in the morning.
Good to see you this morning.
Hey man, of course, I'm always easy to catch, so we ain't gonna have no problem with that, right?
We're gonna have a great morning. We're not gonna bring up
we gonna bring up no old stuff.
Not this morning.
Okay. definitely honored to have you on board. Did you ever think that you'd be on that side of the microphone and I'd be interviewing you?
Uh, no,
Okay,
actually, I never considered this reality. You
me
know,
neither. Don't worry
we've been
about
in
it.
the trenches together on the same side always.
Beautiful, without a doubt, without a doubt. So check it now. I have your bio and everything, and to me, it's like it'd be a little too damn formal if I just started reading the bio, right?
Yeah.
Because I know you in real life, so it's like and then perhaps and all that. It's really not gonna cut it. Um, for folks who are checking us out, Chef Ajoke or Iya Ajoke, um, we've been knowing each other for almost 20 years. As I mentioned, she is one of the founding members, first five of the FTP movement, you know,
Yeah.
and you can catch her in our film, Organizing is the New Cool. In fact, as far as our Feed the People program, it was because of her that we actually got it started. So I wanted to give her credit for the work that she's done and assisted. And for the past damn near 20 years, we've done everything from schools to spoken
Yes.
word to
Yes.
a little bit of everything. But
Absolutely.
yes, yes, yes. So today I want to bring you on to talk about some of your talents besides the work, and I know that for one, you are would you call yourself a master seamstress? I mean, what would be the correct title for that?
I would say a seamstress. I am a master tailor's daughter.
Right on.
And so, and everything that we do is so connected. We talk about how we met and got involved with FTP and the community work, but all of it is an extension of what I came up with. you know
Right on.
I sew because my father sewed. I cook food because all my elders cooked. I feed the community because my family did the same. You know what I mean? And so it's all connected. It's just different sides of the same coin,
Right on.
and all of it's necessary.
So give us some background because and I'm glad you said it the way you said it. Let's take us back for folks who are unfamiliar with you. Give them a little brief bio if you don't mind.
Uh, so my birth name is Malika Hameen. Some who've known me for a long time would know me as that name. It is still my name. A cultural name that was given to me was Ajoke, which more people know me as current day. But she's the same person. Everything that I'm about is about furthering who and what our people are, who our people have been, what we've done, and pushing that culture forward. In that is also the protection of our people, right? And the elevation of our people. Culture is dynamic. It grows, it morphs, it moves based on proximity and and current environment. And so that's what we are. We are a new African, as we like to say a lot. When we talk about those of us here in the diaspora. And for me, while the African connection is there, we're very clear about the continent from which we came. What is most important to me is the genius of our ancestors on this side of the water and what we've been able to create out of the ugliest of circumstances, out of, the leftovers, the scraps. And so whether that be in our food, whether it be in our music, whether it be in our dances, all of what we are here is important to me, to hold up in the face of everything and to protect, against all odds, that we are able to continue to grow and thrive as a people on this side of the water.
No doubt. How important to you and what role does African culture play in your life? Because I think that one of the things that it's often glossed over or overlooked or overshadowed is the culture aspect. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I mean, and it's everything. It's really the foundation of everything. There is no separation of me from the culture of our people. There's no separation of me, from the struggles of our people. So even when we talk about food and the fact that the discipline that I put forth in my cuisine is Afrofusion, right? Afrofusion, by definition, is birthed in joint oppression. So when we talk about Caribbean cuisine, we can't not talk about the Indian, influence, the Chinese influence, because just like our people were taken from our homelands and brought into the Caribbean as, enslaved people and laborers, so were the Indians, so were the Chinese, right? And so curry was given to us by the Indian culture. As much as we love pepper steak, we got that from the Chinese. And so for me, Afrofusion is a victory of, again, how our oppression allowed us to still build something beautiful and delicious. You understand? So there is no separation. The culture is always present. It's the foundation for everything we are and everything we do. And
So let's talk about that, the food, because without a doubt, you got skills on the pots and pans. I don't, them vegan cheesecakes. Hey, listen, y'all, she make a vegan sweet potato cheesecake, and that joint right there is like enough to slap like 8 crackers at the same time. Rah, rah. What you said your elders cook, so on and so forth. Let's talk about, because you mentioned curry and the seasonings. How does that relate to our culture and the food, the palate, so on and so forth? Let's talk about that. Just the because food is almost a spiritual thing as well.
it's
when it comes to
absolutely a spiritual thing. I have a great Uncle James that passed many years ago, right? This is on my mother's side. And he was known for his food. I mean, by everybody, you understand? And so I grew up a lot of times when we're mixing certain things, like say a potato salad, right? Or whatever. We use our hands to mix, not necessarily spoons. Of course, our hands are clean. It's nothing like that. There's no contamination. But I remember asking my Uncle James when I was, very young, like, why do we mix food with our hands? He said, how are you going to put the love in it if you don't touch it? You know what I mean? It is a spiritual thing. The energy that we have and that we keep when we cook these foods, the prayers, the incantations, the memories that come back when I'm cooking, of being in the kitchen with my grandmother and being shown, you know what I'm saying, how to devein collard greens and all of these things. All of this is a part of what you eat when you eat my food. You understand? All of these lessons, all of that love and the intention of it being good, not just for your soul and your spirit, but your physical body. The fact that soul food cooking, or what we consider soul food cooking, is based on love. It's based on understanding that this is a way that we were never stopped from expressing our love for each other. We may not have been able to laugh and play on a plantation. We may have had to calm our children down, you know what I mean, and not show joy outwardly, but we were never stopped from cooking food. We were never stopped. So it was a vessel that we were always able to use to communicate. You understand? And so it's powerful. It's immensely powerful. But when we talk about culture, even the things that we may consider, traditional American soul food, Black Southern soul food, is still Afrofusion. So if we're talking about red rice coming from the Gullah Geechee folk, it's our interpretation on this side of the water of jollof rice. When we talk about New Orleans and all this cuisine, from shrimp Creole to red beans and rice and all of this, you're talking about a mix of cultures between the colonizers in terms of the French, right? The Native Americans that we came into contact with as those were brought out, as we were brought out of Haiti and into Louisiana, so there is no separation. It's always been a migration and growth of our culture and the way that we choose to cook our food.
You talked about the whole soul food aspect. One of the things that I love, that your family is, or pardon me, our family is been tasked to do, as far as our organization, the FTP movement, the CI food, so on and so forth. You've put together there are times when we get together to just break bread.
Yes.
So I want you to talk about that and the importance of it, because what happens is there are a lot of organizations out here, and I think that an aspect that many lack is the ability to get together with family, to get
Yes.
together, to break bread, to train together, to eat together, to live together. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to our brother Balogun. I seen him in the chat as well.
Mhm.
I know that he just had a daughter, him and
Yes.
Yara
Congratulations,
Boone. So
Baba.
definitely, shout out to them as well. But yeah, I want to talk about the importance of that, because I think that part of the way that we've been able to sustain is that we don't operate as an organization that meets and we just talk that talk, and then we'll see you at a rally and we don't know where you live and all that type of stuff.
Right.
So talk about the importance of these gatherings.
So, I'm a child of the South. I like to say, I'm a saltwater red clay baby. My folk come from North Florida and South Georgia, right? And so I grew up with Sunday dinners being a major factor in my family. And so every Sunday we got together. Food was cooked. We all added on and brought on. A lot of times Saturday nights, you're preparing the dish that you're going to bring over to Sunday dinner. It wasn't about age and other things you had going on. You understood you needed to show your face because it was the way for us to recharge and to heal, to love on each other, to recuperate from whatever we had gone through that week prior, and to be strong enough to go forward in the week to come. And so to sit down at a table, to cook food with the intention of loving your people and healing your people, your family, your Aalites, whatever terms we want to use, and to be able to do that freely, not contrived, you know what I mean? Not highfalutin necessarily, but to say we're going to make time to come together and to repair ourselves together and to share the love that we have with each other around food, which is a very traditional thing with African folk, this side of the water and not. That, we come together over food as a way to heal, repair, and to celebrate. There's a Ugandan proverb that governs the Mwaza company, and it says, relationship is in the eating together. It's where you can decompress. You're sitting at the table. How was your week? What's going on? What you looking to do? All of these kinds of things where you have that support, where you can feel your best self to go back out into the world and be your best self. And so that is something that I'm working to bring back more regularly. So you were present at our first private Sunday dinner, with our very close family folks that we've been in the trenches with. And it was absolutely healing. I have a picture of me and you hugging right before we sat down at the table. And even in the picture, you see the release, that energy gave us, to not be, to not have to be on, to be able
We'll
to
go mode. Right.
Yeah, to not be in go mode all the time, because we are human beings. We're not machines. Even though a lot of times in this society we're forced to work and act like machines, we're people. We're human beings, and we have to allow space for that. And food is the perfect catalyst.
I'm thinking back. It's funny because I'm sitting here, and just taking a journey back. I'm thinking about uh, my baby nieces who are grown women now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, um, you know, people don't understand our relationship, and the same goes with Balagoon. I was just thinking the other day about um his daughter Yami, who is in high school, and when I first met him, she was jumping up out the stroller and whatnot. We're in class. She trying to climb out
Yeah.
the stroller. Now she's taller than me, and our sister Taj, and watching her babies grow, and now she's a grandmother, and it is a beautiful thing to So I'm just partly reminiscing. I'm listening to what you're saying. I know you have a book, newsletter, and a website out, but before I go to that, because we have a few minutes, I want to talk about because we mentioned spirituality,
Yes.
and I know that you are a priest as well. So can you speak on that, on the tradition and the importance of the spiritual aspects and what it is that you do?
So I am a priest of Eshu in the Yoruba tradition. And when we talk about food, even from a spiritual aspect, when we talk about the Orisha, right, and these deities that we appease, when we talk about our ancestors, um, feeding them is a part of the ritual, you know? And so it is symbolic, at an ancestor shrine, we would put out food for our ancestors, and generally food that they favored, the things that they ate and that they liked, as a way of two things. One, saying, thank you. We honor what it is that you've given us. And two, saying, come and be with me, come and eat with me, even in that. Do you understand what I mean when I say the power of food as the catalyst? So as the food sits and it naturally starts to deteriorate, it is symbolic of them coming and joining us over a meal, right? It is us showing gratitude to them. So in every aspect, and that exists in the New World as well. So, the Yoruba tradition, coming out of Nigeria is one thing, but we talked about culture being dynamic and how it morphs, right? And changes. So in the New World, whether we call it voodoo, whether we call it lukumi, whether we call it hoodoo, you know what I'm saying? When I came into Ifa, when I was, brought into that particular tradition, so many things were familiar to me just from the things I got from my family. When I first, learned or saw omiero being made, which is like a spiritual cleaning, right? And there's herbs and leaves. It reminded me of the whole ritual of what we do when we devein collard greens and how we wash the greens. So there's so much that is so very connected, but food is in and all through all of it. You know what I mean? That's the greatest and the most common offering that we give our spirits in the old world and the new world. And so yes, it is totally spiritual.
No
Totally
doubt.
spiritual.
No doubt, no doubt. We have a few minutes, but I want to talk about. I know you have a new book coming out. You also have the website, which
Hmm.
folks can check out. And the website is mawaza online.com. We'll put it in the in the chat.
Hmm.
But talk to us about your new book, Transformation Back to Self.
So transformation back to self is super special and important to me. Um, and it's even a call or answer to destiny's call in a lot of ways for me when it comes to health with our people, and then the health industry right now. I've rejected a lot of the ways that things are being posed. You have to be vegan or you're gonna die. Everything you eat has to be organic or you're gonna die. You can't, it's all these rules, and it doesn't work for our people because it's not obtainable for a lot of us. And so what happens in the way that it's presented, we just do nothing. We never talk about all the levels and degrees, right, that exist in anything, right? So your goal may be up here, but you got all these steps that can be taken, right, before you can get up here that still better your quality of life. And as a people, especially, here in the diaspora, health is not where it should be for most of us. And most of us have kind of just accepted it. As I get older, I'm going to get heavier. My quality of life is going to diminish. And there's really nothing I can do about it. At my heaviest, I was about 238 pounds. Now, to put it in perspective, I'm 4 foot 11 and a half inches. That's an extreme amount of weight. And I remember when I accepted that this was just my reality. You know what I mean? This is just where I was. I've had 3 children and all of this kind of thing. And this is what I'm stuck with. So I remember when I gave up on the idea of being able to have control, right, over the quality of my life. And so transformation back to self was inspired by my own journey when I realized that none of those things were true, and that I didn't have to sacrifice uh, good tasting food, foods and ingredients that I was accustomed to eating, that I like to eat. Uh, I'm now a size 8, but at my heaviest, I was a size 20. I don't
Mm.
even know my weight because it wasn't about that. It was about enhancing the quality of my life. So the scale wasn't a part of it. So transformation back to self is about helping us, especially our people, to understand the changes that can be made in small scale that lead to big results, to remind us that a quality of life and good health and longevity is our birthright and it's absolutely obtainable. It's not that far-fetched. You understand? And to understand that for us to have good health and wellness, it's about a lot more than just what we put in our mouths. So we approach healing and wellness in this book and the companion workbook from a physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional level. We have to deal with all of those things because the weight we hold, the diseases that we attract, is not just about the foods that we eat.
Well, listen, Ajoke, always good to see you. Of course, we got work to do, so you'll be hearing
Wonderful
from me
to
later
see
on
you
today.
too. I'm gonna hold you to that. Now you said that publicly. You understand? You put
we
yourself
can
out
bring it.
there.
Minister Server, talk to her.
Yeah, today, not tomorrow, not next week, right? You
We
said
got it. We
today.
got it. We got
Okay.
meetings. We're gonna do it. Ajoke also helps to make sure I'm in order with organizational work or whatever, So she also runs interference. So if you can't contact me, contact Ajoke.
And I will
And,
get him in a chokehold for you. Absolutely.
hey, but this is the website right here for folks to check out. And wiseronline.com. I see a few people in the chat already said they signed up for the newsletter. It is a powerful, excellent newsletter. Make sure you support her work, the book. When she talked about this transformation of self, the wildest thing about it is I remember I hadn't seen her in a while.
Yep.
And I showed up at one of the comrades' party birthdays, and she looked at me and spoke to me, and I said, "Peace, how you doing, sis?" And I kept walking past her.
Yeah,
like,
you absolutely didn't recognize me, and that happens a lot if people hadn't seen me in a while,
right.
because I've literally lost a whole person, and
Right.
it's even funny when I look at older pictures of myself, I don't recognize her anymore, and that's a
Right.
good thing.
It's a
I
powerful
like
thing.
this version much better,
Yes,
much better.
you still stress me out, but it's okay.
That's my
Anyway,
job.
love you. Be safe, sis. We'll talk to you soon. Make sure y'all go check out mwazaonline.com. This is the Remix Morning Show. That's Ajoke, Chef Ajoke. Till next time. Siafu salute.
Peace. Siafu salute.
Yeah. That was dope.
What's happening? What's happening?
That was
Kim
dope.
looked like she ran away. Kim, you better come back home, Kim. Where you at?
She had to use the bathroom.
I see she in the background.
Ah!
You're on mute talking.
Her phone, her mic ain't right. But yo, that's some real deal, especially talking about spirituality and food. It's certain, like, I won't go to certain restaurants because I don't know the spirits that's making this food. You know what I'm saying? It's like you might have a bad day, crazy day, and now you back here putting your energy in the food. I am a at-home chef. Let me tell you, because I can't trust it.
Let me tell you,
something.
transformation back to self. I mean, just that phrase just really spoke to me because I'm in a bit of a transition myself. I'm trying to get myself back into some sort of shape, and everything that she was saying was just really landing. That your food, you can still enjoy your food without feel like you're eating like a rabbit.
Right.
Which is important to me because I love food. I love flavors. I love meat. I'm sorry for all y'all non-meat people, but and especially when sis said her height, 4'11", and she was carrying that extra weight. You know what I'm saying? I'm 5'2", and so big up to the short people that are dealing with some extra bulge around your.
The Bushwick Bill. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, but I'm gonna get the book. Is the long way I'm saying this is that I fully intend to purchase that book because in the workbook, because I'm interested in doing that work. I want to transform myself back to something that I've never been before. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that even makes any sense. But when she was speaking, that's exactly what I was hearing.
Yes. No, that is powerful. And also, I want to point out, she just reminded me that she's actually doing deliveries nationally now, so you can actually get a taste of her work. And she caters in the Atlanta area. And when I say her food's not a game, man, listen, I'm talking about it does what it do. So definitely, shout out to Ajoke. But we have and Kim, you're gonna join us for this next segment. Don't try to go away. We have another guest coming up after the ear doctor does his thing. But we got my main man Jalil Muntaqim, who we're going on our 2nd year anniversary, bringing him on this show on our 100th episode of Renegade Culture. A quick fun fact: the 17th of February, which is in a couple of days, of course, it'll be our 2-year anniversary here at Black Power Media. But it would have been our 5-year anniversary of Renegade Culture as well. So I just wanted to point that out.
Hey, the people want the Renegade Culture, by the way. I've seen comments.
Put your money up, man.
I've seen specific comments in the chat angrily demanding the return of Renegade Culture. Like, bring it back.
You got to put the money up to pay for editing, man. It's a lot of work that go behind the scene on that.
You got to pay for me. What you talking about?
You know what I'm saying? Our ticket is pretty high.
Yeah.
But yo, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break and come back with another dope interview right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Yeah. What's good, everybody? Welcome out once again to the Remix Morning Show. Make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe and all that. And yes, dealing with the real. I see what you're saying. Yes, I was thinking about the Soul Aquarius. Solitarians. Did I get that one right? That had Common and Erykah Badu, not the Native Tongues. That's right. Native Tongues had Black Sheep, Tribe Called Quest, and the other ones. Jungle Brothers and Daylight. That's right. And Queen Latifah and Moni Love. All right, with that said, let's go ahead. Listen, I told y'all if y'all got some music to send it in. And guess what? Somebody sent in another song. Now, I hope y'all ready for this one because, like I said, I tell y'all, whoever y'all just send it in and we'll see how it sounds. And I'm going to leave it up to the audience to, let us know what they thought about it. With that said, let's get to it right here, right now. All right. This is All Fastest Bound to Lose. Let's go right here with Adam. Here we go.
I'm gonna tell you, fascists, you might be surprised. People all across the world are getting organized. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. Your hatred cannot stop us, this one thing we know. Those values you drone on about are nothing more than show. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Backing down before this battle's won. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose.
Yeah, big up to what's my brother's name right here, Adam Smith. You fascists bound to lose. I know y'all wasn't ready for that, but welcome to Black Power Media, y'all. We giving it to you. With that said, that was a quick Adam Silver. What did I say? Adam Silver. What's his name again? Adam Smith. Big up to Adam Smith for sending that one in. And like I said, anytime you got some bangers or whatever you consider a banger, please go ahead and send it into eardoctormusic1@gmail.com. eardoctormusic1@gmail.com. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and get back to the Remix Morning Show.
Hey man, shout out to that's Adam with the Smiths. He's a big supporter of Black Power Media.
Yo,
on Twitter and whatnot. Always Twitter and social media always pushing our stuff. So definitely salute to Adam with the Smiths. You know what I'm saying? You know, we definitely appreciate you, you know, sending in music. We have supporters of all types. I noticed that you know, stay on top of things. I need you all out there who are not making music to support us like some folks who are, you know. So, you know, oftentimes folks are asking us, you know, does this one support particularly hip hop artists, so on and so forth. We need all hands on deck because we're doing this slow climb and we can't rely on our own self promotion. We need you all to let folks know. Tell a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Peace, Adam. Adam did the good acoustic guitar, and then he broke out the harmonica. He broke out the harmonica.
I'm ready for him.
Come through, Adam. Tell the fuck I'm talking about. Them fascists bound to lose. Yes.
Right. Damn right.
It's gonna be in your head, stuck in your head all day.
It's
I'm gonna start
bop,
singing it.
as the
I'm gonna do the
kids say.
remix. I'm gonna be mad at me.
Yeah,
Word.
and you gotta finesse that with some scratches and shit. Like
Alright.
I want to hear you cut that up.
No problem. Anyway, but that's
I don't want to hear you cut it up. Anyway.
I do want to hear him cut it up. That shit
Word.
probably be tight.
well, that's your
Hey.
artist spotlight for the day. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Peace,
No doubt.
peace.
Well, listen, man, you know, we have a little bit of everything here. As promised, you know, we got one of my favorite Black Panther veterans, former political prisoners, who's out here doing work nonstop. They work him so much. I'm not sure, man. I'm gonna talk to his management and see what's going on around here. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we got our comrade Jalil Muntaqim, who's be coming up right about now. Jalil, what's happening, man?
Assalamu alaikum, peace, paz, Bagani, Jumbo, Hafadea, Adrien, Haping, Shalom, Guten Tag, whatever your language, wherever you're on the planet watching this program, I wish you a peace and solidarity. My brother is good to be on the program again. Hey, sis, how you doing, sis?
Good morning, brother Jalil. How are you?
Hey, I'm faring better, you know, maintaining and complaining.
I know that.
Maintain, ain't complaining. Jalil, I think you might get a rap career. I'm not sure, man. What you think?
Hey, rap, my comrade rap, Jamil Alameen, you know what I mean? He's called him rap, you know what I'm saying? So, hey, yo.
Hey, no doubt. I got Bayat to Imam Jamil, so definitely.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Free Imam Jamil Alameen, formerly H-Rap Brown. In case y'all don't know, now you know. Before we go into the deal, I didn't know that Marshall Eddie Conway had transitioned. Did you?
Yeah, I found out last night. In fact, our beloved lawyer, Bob Boyle, he called me and informed me of the situation. I was on the Zoom at the time, on a People's Senate Zoom, and we were trying to put our pieces together for the People's Senate. That we had and I just want to segue right through what we're dealing with. I was in a Zoom meeting organizing for our webinar that we're going to have on the 18th at 12 noon. It's going to be People's Senate webinar, where we are informing the country why we are building what we call a People's Senate, no necessity for that, based upon the verdict of the international jurors of October 25th, 2021, where they found the United States guilty on the charges of genocide on 5 counts. The 5 counts were mass incarceration, political prisoners, health inequities, environmental racism, and state terror, police murder of Black and brown and indigenous people in this country. The United States found guilty of genocide in regard to each of those 5 counts by an esteemed body of international jurors, and we have determined that for us, it's essential that we remove ourselves from harm. Remove ourselves from harm, right? They've been harming us traumatically for the last 400 years, right? And for us, even to harp at the idea that we are suffering under these conditions that the international community has identified as genocides, and we continue to seek the means for which we can be included into a system that does not want us in the first place, right? Seems to me is an act of insanity. And so we must become sane again, right? And that means for us that we need to build something, an alternative to the system that has been committed genocides against us for the last 400 years. I'm tired. I'm tired of having to tell my kid the talk, right? Why do we as a people have to tell our children the talk, right? Because we know there are people out there who are targeting us, right? Targeting us. So therefore, we have to train our children to be careful in regard to our relationships, particularly with state officials, right? Because we understand the system of white supremacy. we understand that this system of governing is based upon the ideology and principles and philosophy of white supremacy. We know that. Right? So on the basis of that understanding, we know that in order for white supremacy to exist, there have to be a group of people who are inferior to those who consider themselves superior. Right? So for us, has been our situation, our condition for the last 400 years, that we need to really build a system by which we are no longer considered inferior. All right? We have to take a position of our own divine nature, right? As human beings on this planet, right? And evolve our value in regards to that. Because they have dehumanized us, devalued us, demeaned us, right, for 40 years. I'm tired. We're done, right? And so we're going to build what we call the People's Senate. So on on February 18th, right, at 12 noon, we're going to have a special webinar. And people can find the flyer, right, and find the tiny URL to register for it, right? And let's see if I can put it in the chat. Where's the chat at on this thing?
Hey, I don't know the chat in on your thing, but we will have the flyer. we posting the flyer on. You all can go to our IG and to our Twitter as well, because we will be assisting in promoting and making sure that folks check out what you all are doing over there on Saturday. So we appreciate that.
Let me make one more point in regard to people Senate, right, and the issues that we're going to be raising. Out of those 5 issues from which the United States has been found guilty of the charge of genocide, one of those issues deals with the question of mass incarceration, right? And there's been a lot of talk about mass incarceration over the last 10 years, at least 15 years since Michelle Alexander put out her book, The New Jim Crow, right? We brought up a national dialogue on the issue of mass incarceration. But we understand the dynamics of it, and it lends from the 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution, right, whereby slavery and voluntary servitude shall not exist in the United States except for those who have been duly convicted of a crime. Essentially, what we're saying is that the penal system in the United States is, in fact, a slave system, according to the law, right? So for us, according to the law, right, it's not what I'm saying, it's not what Jalil saying, not what Jericho's saying, it's not what the Remix Show, Money Show is saying, it's what the law says. The law says that prisoners are slaves of the state, okay? That's the fine print that we forgot, that we did not read. All right. So now that the fine print has become bold, it's bold print now. All right, we're moving to the end. We end penal slavery across this country. So there's an organization called there's a movement called 13 Forward, which I call on people across the country to get involved and get engaged with. All right. Why? Because if we remove the incentive for mass incarceration, the monetary incentive for mass incarceration, we remove that, then we are actually developing the method for which we can change the idea of crime and punishment and how it's being imposed upon us in this country by removing the 13th Amendment. Now, 7 states have done so already, including Alabama and Tennessee. Remove the idea of penal involuntary servitude and slavery and compulsory labor from out of their constitution. All right, we are working here in New York to make New York the 8th state to do so, right? This is how we challenge mass incarceration. This is a strategy to challenge mass incarceration across the country. If we have our comrades around the country talking about ending penal slavery, right, to change the exception clause within the 13th Amendment, we in fact are challenging mass incarceration. We're taking the incentive out. We're saying that our individuals in prison are now incarcerated workers, right? We don't even want to use the name prisoners anymore, because prisoners is synonymous to the word what? Slave, right? When you look at a prisoner, you look at a slave, according to the law.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. We had and it's funny we're talking about this today. It's not funny, but we just had Max Parthas on Guerrilla Intellectual University yesterday with Jared Ball, Joy James, and myself talking about this topic of the 13th Amendment. And one of the things that he was speaking on was that if we ended the 13th Amendment clause, or we changed the words around, then it would make, he wanted to make it illegal, whereas it is legal right now. So my question to him, and I'll ask you the same question, is we talk about legal and illegal, and I know that's not what you're saying, but when we discuss legal and illegal, here in the United States, we know that the very fact that the three of us are on this platform right now speaking English is a result of illegal activities. It is a criminal act that we exist on this land right now. You know, we're on stolen land. We've all been victims of crime. We are byproducts of crimes against humanity. How does the changing of the words affect or impact us, knowing that these bastards break every law that they've ever created?
Fantastic word. Fantastic question. Right. Let me put it this way. I'm going to use a social psychological terminology in certain respects in this regards. Right. We know that thought precedes action. Is that correct? That you had to think about a particular way in order to act in a particular way. Right. If you think like a criminal, you're going to act like a criminal. If you think like an entrepreneur, you're going to act like an entrepreneur. If you think like a revolutionary, you're going to act like a revolutionary. Language is important. Right. And look at all the religious sciences. Right. First thing they say, what came first was the word. Right, the word. Then came the book, the Bibles, and so forth, so on. Right, that taught men. Okay, so changing the language changes behavior. Right, that's one of the reasons why they didn't want to teach us. That's why Carter G. Woodson wrote the book, The Miseducation of the Negro. Right, because the words that we have been indoctrinated in has served to keep us inferior. All right, so we're changing the language. We're changing the language so we can change the behavior, change the understanding of the social dynamics that's going on within this country between those who are in power and those who are disempowered. Right? So for us, particularly those who are confronted by the mass incarceration, right? For us to change the idea of the language of a prisoner into an incarcerated worker is to change the behavior and the thinking of those who are incarcerated, one, and our relationship with them on the outside. We are saying that they belong in the working class, right? You put them in penitentiaries, you put them in these penal slave systems, and you're working them, right? They're compelled to go to work. If you don't go to work, right, you stay locked in a cell for 23 hours a day, right? You may lose your visits, right? You may lose your commissary, right? You may lose conjugal visits, right, with your family members, right? You may be burdened by when you go to the parole board and say they won't release you because you didn't want to work, right? So that's compulsion, compelling people to work, okay? And so for us to change that idea that they are slaves to them being workers, and then demanding they begin the same obligation, same privileges, right, as all laborers have. They follow the same laws and regulations as the labor laws, right, including health and all the kinds of benefits. We are providing the opportunity to unionize, right, because they're incarcerated workers. We have changed the idea of crime and punishment in this country. That's language, bro, right? So we change the language, we change the behavior, we change the narrative, right? That's what we're going to do in the People's Senate. Right, we're going to change the narrative in terms of issues of mass incarceration and challenging the system head up. Right, you cannot have mass incarceration and keep people in slavery. Right, you end slavery, you end penal slavery, you're going to end mass incarceration. Right, because then we have an argument saying, well, why do we send these people to the penitentiary to get jobs? Well, hell, make jobs in the community. That way they have to bust a brick to go to the penitentiary in the first place. That's the language. You see, so we're changing the narrative. That's important. All right. Yes, sir.
Speaking about changing the narrative, I mean, you talk about mass incarceration, but what precedes mass incarceration is the presence and the involvement of police in our communities to begin with.
Absolutely.
In places that are experiencing higher levels of crime, there's a lot of propaganda, being supported by the corporate media and the police state about the need to increase police presence because of more carjackings, more property crime, etc. But how do we convince our people in those communities that, number one, calling the police is not the answer? And in advance of us getting community control of the police, a lot of communities don't have that apparatus, that people-centered apparatus in place. So when people see their family members or whomever may be having a mental health crisis, and they will call the cops for help, and usually the cops are not there as a force of good. They can exacerbate and make the situation worse. So what are some of the deterrents that we could use to get our people to not call the police on each other? Because when I see these folks being interviewed in media spaces, and again, it's I understand the level of propaganda here, but I see Black people calling for more police involvement, and it's like, y'all keep asking for more police, you gonna absolutely get it. So how can we even make the argument to our folks that we need to stop asking for the police to be more involved in our spaces?
Sister, that's a giant, huge question, right? And it can be answered in so many different ways. One of the ways that I would answer it is that we need to establish a self-defense communities, self-defense organizing in our own community. We need to create very similar situations as structures in our community as the Jewish people have in their community, as some Islamic communities have in their communities. We have their own judge or their mahdi, right? A person who will be able to go to and deal with these issues. The Italians are first, and I don't want to put this out there like that, but the Italians in terms of the mafia, right? And when they got a problem in terms of their community, they go to the Don, right? We need to do the same thing, right? We need to create for our own community, our own structural community judgment system, right? Where we have what we call transformative judgment. I think that's what it's called, transformative judgment.
Justice.
Where the community, where the community is operating for their best interest, and understanding that there's ways that we can resolve these conditions in our community ourselves without calling on the police. Now, and another example, we are organizing what we call peace, right? Which is finding medical people who's going to be engaging in our communities, make sure that they adhere to the Hippocratic oath, that they do no harm, all right? And so in this instance, we need to have those also engaged. When we have those kind of mental health issues, mental health crises in our community, we have individuals that we can call upon, not the police, but professionals who we can call upon in our community to address these issues, right? That means we have to get organized. We have to identify these people and have them come to understand that they have an obligation to themselves and an obligation to our community based upon the Hippocratic oath to do no harm. And we can show them where the harm is being done. Right? Statistically, empirically, we can show them where the harm is being done and where it's needed. That's why the Black Panther Party put together the community health centers, right? Health clinics across the country with the Black Panther Party, right? So we knew there are issues in our community that had to be addressed. So ultimately, it means that we have to get organized, right? We have to get organized in a very formal organizational structure. And that's the reason why I have been calling for two things, right? The People's Senate and building a rolling out front for the liberation of the African nation, right? Because we have to, again, as I said before, we have to divorce ourselves from a system of genocide, right? And so for us to do so, we have to start creating alternative mechanisms of institutions of governing, right? And we can govern ourselves for the people and by the people, and not a system of government for the corporations, by the corporations, right? The United States, as you well know, is a corporation. And so for us, it's important to identify those individuals who are capable of addressing those issues, right? And organizing our own capacity to not have to call the police, to create our own self-defense committees, our school patrols, our cop watch, right, our health clinics, and etc. We can do this. We can empower ourselves. The talent is there. We just gotta have the will.
Yes, and the support of the people, because of course, we've been working on different campaigns like that in Atlanta for years, but it's also around the people have to desire what it is that we're trying to bring to the table, because I think that oftentimes too we talk about what's needed, but the first step is to politicize the people so that they can understand why it's needed. Because sometimes we just show up with the program in the backpack thinking that, oh, this is what you need over here. Like, nah, this ain't what I need. I need this. So then you'll get more struggle and more
resistance,
pushback, right, than anything else. Our brother Raphael Outland, he had a question, and shout out to him and Kasise Siddiqui. If you didn't catch the latest Riot Starter TV or RSTV, go check it out. We had Kasise Siddiqui and Raphael Outland talking about what was going on with Kamal Siddiqui. He said the guest speaker yesterday spoke of state-sanctioned violence inside of prisons, including women being raped by COs and forced to get abortions.
Mm-hmm.
He said, how will changing this law, policy, language impact structural violence that exists inside of the prisons?
Okay, good question. Thank you for the question, Raphael. The answer to that question is yeah, once you change the language and change the dynamics of institutional behavior, right, you'll change the prospects for the engaging in violent activities. Naturally, you want to identify those who are violent. In administration, those who are violent, those belong to the KKK, the Aryan Brotherhood, and the various races, white supremacist gangs inside the penitentiary. Right, we need to find them and get rid of them. Naturally, we want to inhibit their capacity to engage in that kind of violence against our people inside. And so therefore we change the law. By changing the law, we change the behavior again. And we change the thinking. When we begin to empower our community and their understanding that our loved ones have suffered what they are suffering under a system of penal slavery, right? And that's important as well. Kalanja, you made a point of resistance coming from our community. Indeed, there has to be re-education programs. Right, and that's the reason why we call them decolonization programs, right? Because not only are we raising the issues of creating alternatives, we also creating the politics in support of those alternatives. And we are teaching people why they need to decolonize their mentality and how they've been indoctrinated, right? Indoctrinated and traumatized, normalized their trauma for the last 400 years. All right, and so that is a process. It's a process of restructuring our idea. Again, I may mention language is important because it changes behavior. Right? And so for us, that is what it's about. We're talking about re-educating our people, right? Ain't as much re-educating, giving them education in terms of the system for which which they have been indoctrinated to believe is the only system that is worthy of recognition on the planet, which is ridiculous in and of itself, right? But this is what we've been taught. And so for us, it is important that we have the education programs, right? We get into the schools, get into the colleges, we recruit from those areas, right? From those areas of oppression, institutional oppression, right? We recruit from those areas and we broaden our understanding of the unified ideology, of unified political goals and objectives. For instance, when I talk about Ferdinand, we know that Ferdinand has a three-phase theory for national independence. There's a theoretical foundation from which to move to operate in struggle, right? What's the three foundation, right? Class struggle for national unity for self-government, self-government for national independence, right? Each of them operates in behalf of building towards the next level, next phase. All right. So that needs to be put out there. So people understand there's a process in revolution. There's a process for liberation. There's a process for emancipation. All right. There's a process for being an abolitionist. Right. And when we understand that process, then it serves us to our better capacity to educate or re-educate people in terms of the goals and objectives we're trying to achieve, preferred like the people sitting and fully not. Right? We have to divorce ourselves from a system that's engaged in genocide. Bottom line, we cannot allow them to continue to commit ourselves to the type of horrendous living conditions that we have suffered under. Right? For those who are now, this is not to say for Black people in this country, brown people in this country, that we are resilient. We are resilient people. Right? We have suffered 400 years of genocide. Right? Not the kind of Holocaust of in Germany, but a long system, a long legacy, a long from generation to generation of killing people, Black people in this country, right? Denying them the access of prosperity in this country. Okay, it goes from healthcare to education, right? To housing, to jobs. We're always on the bottom. Right? White people live twice as long as Black people. How is that? Why is that possible?
I want.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. I want to. We're almost on time, but I want folks to definitely check what's going on. Check you all out at noon on February 18th, which is this Saturday. But I want to point out too, one of the things that we're doing on GIU, Guerrilla Intellectual University, is that we're doing book readings. And our first book we're doing is Blood in My Eye by George Jackson. Of course, you all can go to our Twitter and check out the poster, or to our IG. But I want to make sure at some point we have on a list a book that you authored, We're Our Own Liberators, because I think that that's another very important piece that folks should have in their library. You know,
let me correct something right here. I see what you got put up right there, right?
Yes.
Would you don't mind, go to Black Dragon MME.
Okay.
Black Dragon MME and pull that up. All
okay.
right. That's where people can get the new edition, the 3rd edition of We Are Liberators. Right. BlackDragonMME.com. All right.
MME.com. And you the only one that can come on here and work me. I want you to know that, Jalil. We ain't usually I don't be doing no extra work. But
well, I appreciate it, man.
You good,
fingers, using your fingers in a way that's positive for our people. You know what I mean? That's extremely important. So if I gotta get you to work to do that, then man.
I'm talking trash, man. You know
there it is.
No doubt. So this is the correct site here. I want to put it in the chat for folks. Make sure that you go get your book from this particular chat. This latest edition, We're on Liberators. I was really I was studying it years ago, and this is way before you got out, and I'm glad to to see that you made it out. It's definitely a real good piece that has some jewels in it that folks can tap into. So definitely go check out go to this website, blackdragonmme.com, and pick up your copy of We Are On Liberators. And we will definitely be studying that book on Guerrilla Intellectual University, which takes place on Mondays, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here at Black Power Media. My main man, Jalil Muntaqim, always an honor and privilege to have you on board. We will definitely be pushing what's going on for Saturday, and we're looking forward to checking it out, man.
Cool. Oh yeah, we're gonna be rocking the house for fact. And nobody gonna be out there not knowing what the hell's going on with people sinning. They gonna know.
They don't know, they'll know.
They gonna know. That's fact. All right.
No doubt, brother. Revolution Day love. We'll see you.
Revolution love, sis. Revolution love, my brother. All right, y'all be safe out there, okay?
You
no
too.
doubt. All power to the people.
Thank you.
All power to the people. Free them all.
Free them all. That was Jalil Muntaqim, former political prisoner who served 49 years. I'm going to repeat that for you just in case some of y'all unclear. 49 years in prison is what he served. He's been out for a couple years now. And, I want to point out that so often folks are, they're afraid to use the R word. They're afraid to say revolution. They're afraid to do certain things. Online, it's a beautiful place, a beautiful space. But here it is, a brother who gave the majority of his life. I mean, he was 19 years old when he went in, and he got out, was he like close to 70, 69 years or something of that nature. You know what I mean? He went in literally 7 months before I was born. Excuse me. I was 7 months when he went in. I'm sorry. I was 7 months and I was like 50 when he got out.
Jeez Louise.
So when you talk about your entire life, I just needed to put that into context, Kim, so they can understand. 7 months when he went in, and when he got out, I was 50.
Kalonji, I haven't even been alive 49 years. You know what I mean? And when I think about Eddie Conway, also 43 years in jail, I'm 44. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and those things aren't lost on us. I appreciate you trying to make sure that you underscore that and put it into proper context.
I needed everybody to get it. Yeah.
And then just I mean, these Panther veterans are just built different, They are built different. There's a lot of people who would have done that time and would have been completely justified and validated and righteous if they decided to live their life out in peace, very quietly, and just enjoy their time. Okay. But when we talk about Jalil, when we talk about Eddie, they came out and hit the ground running then they never missed a beat. You know what I'm saying? Right, like their work and love was always forefront and evident for the liberation of our people. And it was a lifetime worth of work that they dedicated, that they gave to us. They have given and continue to give with brother Jalil here. You know what I mean? So honor your elders, honor these revolutionaries, these veterans who are still out here pushing.
Right. And this is why, some folks be like, oh man, you take things too serious, all that. I mean, listen, man, when you have comrades who have been in prison longer than you've been on the planet, then you damn right it's serious. You're talking about Rochelle McGee, who's going on his 60th year in prison. 60 years in prison. And we're talking about what we're taking seriously. I mean, come on, man. We got to do better. We got to think better, and we have to be better. But definitely, you know, I know y'all like to stick around and everything, you know, but it's that time of the morning where it's time for us to break out. So definitely want to let you all know that we appreciate you checking in. Check us out tomorrow. Remix Morning Show.
Big up April J. Thank you so much for your super chat support, April. We appreciate you being here. And shout out to all of our remixers, guys. Before you leave the room, before we adjourn today's meeting, please give the video a thumbs up, a like. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, subscribe. The channel is growing, and it's all because of you all sharing the information, sharing the thing, bigging us up on social media. Follow Black Power Media at Black Power MED1. I think it's on Twitter. And follow us everywhere, man. Follow everybody everywhere, basically. is all I can say. But thank you all so much for showing up, for supporting us, and for being part of this movement and this channel and this platform.
No doubt. We appreciate y'all. Kim, have a great day. Remixes out there. Be safe. And till next time, Remix Morning Show. You know what we do around here. Peace.
Hasta mañana. Deuces, y'all.
Yes, yes.